Good morning, students. Welcome to the digital classroom with Holy Heart Schools. Today we are going to start with our chapter Hydrosphere. In today's video, we will be learning about hydrosphere, movements of ocean water, tides, and occurrence of tides. While going through these topics, we will be learning some new words like number 1, hydrosphere, the part of the earth which has water. Number 2, oceans, huge water bodies, example Pacific Ocean, Indian Ocean, etc. Number 3, sea, a salty water body smaller than an ocean. Number 4, gulf, an inlet water body surrounded by land on three sides. For example, Gulf of Cambay, the Persian Gulf, etc. Number 5, bay, a water body surrounded by land on three sides. Example, the Bay of Bengal. Number 6, lakes, deep depression on the earth's surface filled with water. Number 7, trench, deep depressions on the sea floor. Number 8, waves are the disturbance on the surface of sea or ocean which are caused by the winds. Number 9, tides, the alternate rise and fall in the level of sea water. Next we have high tide, the time when the sea has reached its highest level. And at last we have low tide, the time when the sea has reached its lowest level. Now students, please open up your chapter number 11, Hydrosphere, page 79. But before we start with the today's topic, let's have a brief about the topics. If we view planet Earth from the space, it looks blue as major part of the Earth's surface is covered with water. And this is the reason why Earth is known as a watery planet or blue planet. As we all know that more than 71% of the Earth's surface is covered with water. And this presence of water distinguishes Earth from the other planets in the solar system. All the water present on the Earth's surface is found in oceans, seas, lakes, rivers, ponds, etc. And these water bodies collectively form hydrosphere. About 97% of the water available on the Earth's surface is present in the oceans. There are four major oceans present on the Earth's surface, that is Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, Indian Ocean and Arctic Ocean. All these oceans are interconnected to each other. Therefore, the level of the water in all the oceans and the seas is same everywhere. This uniform level of water is called as the mean sea level, and the height of the land and the depth of the water is measured from the mean sea level. Oceans are also one of the most intriguing forces of the nature and are truly vast and majestic resources that contain many beautiful plants and animal species. For thousands of years, people have depended upon oceans as their source of food and highway for trade, especially for import and export. People at one time completely believed that ocean floors were flat and smooth. But in 1920s, scientists started mapping the ocean floors using different instruments called echo sounders that measured the ocean depth with the help of sound waves. This instrument proved that ocean floors have dramatic features such as huge mountains, deep canyons, steep cliffs, and wide plains. In some parts, ocean floors plunges to the great depths known as ocean deeps or trenches. The deepest trench in the world is the Mariana Trench in the Pacific Ocean, which is about 11,022 meters below the sea level. So now let's start with the reading of the topic today. The presence of water is a unique feature of our planet. Unique means one of its own kind. About 71% of Earth's surface is covered with water, which is found mostly in oceans, seas, gulfs, bays, lakes, rivers, ice sheets, etc. Now, oceans here are huge water bodies. Seas are the large salty water bodies smaller than the oceans. Gulfs, an inlet water body surrounded by land on three sides. Bays, a water body surrounded by land on three sides. lakes, deep depression on the earth's surface which are filled with water. Rivers are the streams of water flowing from the high level to the low level. So, the part of the earth covered with water is known as hydrosphere. So, here we can say that all these water bodies collectively form the hydrosphere. The total amount of water on the surface of the earth is fixed. About 97% of the water is in oceans, as we have already discussed, and all the waters in the oceans and seas is interconnected. Thus, the level of water in the oceans and the seas is the same throughout. This level is called the mean sea level, and this is the reason we always take the level of the sea as 0, and this uniform level of water is used to measure the height of the land and the depth of the water. Large water bodies are called oceans. There are four major oceans: Pacific, Atlantic, Indian and Arctic Ocean, out of which Pacific is the largest and Arctic is the smallest ocean. The average depth of the ocean water is about 3,800 meters below the mean sea level. Greatest depth is at the Mariana Trench. Trench is basically defined as the deep depressions on the sea floor, which is about 11,022 meters on the eastern side of the Pacific Ocean. Now next we have movements of the ocean water. The oceanic water is highly dynamic. It is always in motion. There are two types of regular movements in the ocean water. First one is a horizontal movement, that is in the form of ocean currents, and the another one is a vertical movement, which is in the form of rising of the bottom water as well as sinking of the surface water. It is in the form of waves and tides. The movements are the results of variation in density due to the salinity and the variation in temperature. Winds are also responsible for the horizontal movement in the ocean water, and this horizontal movement of the ocean water due to wind is known as waves. Waves are mostly generated by wind. As the wave passes, the water moves upward, forming a wave crest, which is followed by the sinking of the surface that creates a wave trough. The length, height and the strength of the waves depend largely upon the force of the wind which has created them. So now let's read. Movement of ocean water. The water of the ocean is always in motion, means the process of being moved. If we see the sea water or ocean water or any other water, it seems to be still, but it is always in motion. The movement of the ocean water takes place in three different ways. Number one, waves, which is defined as a horizontal movement of water due to wind. Tides. Tides can be defined as an alternative rise and fall in the levels of the sea water. And currents. Currents can be defined as stream of ocean water flowing in a particular direction throughout the air. The ocean water moves horizontally, means from east to west, as well as vertically, means from north to south. Winds provide the motive force. Motive force is a force that causes something to move. For horizontal movements for the surface water, the movement of the ocean water is also due to the variation in density of the ocean water. Density means the degree of compactness of a water. The density of ocean water depends upon the temperature and the salinity of the water. Movement of the surface water, in which the rise and fall of the water surface is more predominant than the actual forward movement of the water particles, is called a wave. In a very simple language, we can define waves as a horizontal movement of the water. The wave represents a series of parallel crests. Crests means the highest part of the wave separated by the troughs and are mainly due to winds. Troughs means the lowest point of a wave. In this picture, you can see both crest and trough of a wave. Now next we are going to start up with the tides. The alternate rise and fall in the level of sea water is known as tides. The rising of water is generally termed as flow tide or high tide. This is the movement of sea water towards the coast, while the falling of water is known as ebb tide or low tide. In such case, the movement of sea water is towards the sea. So now let's read. Now next we are going to start up with the tides. Since time immemorial, the inhabitants means people living in a particular area of the coastal areas. Coastal areas means areas along the sea. These areas have been observing the rise and fall in the level of seawater. This alternate rise and fall in the level of seawater is known as tide. We generally speak of tide coming in when a level of seawater rises and its movement is towards the coast. This is called high tide. High tide helps the ships in navigation. They raise the water level close to the shores, which help the ships to arrive at the harbour more easily. When we say the tides going out, the level of the seawater falls and the movement of the seawater is towards the sea. This is called the ebb tide or the low tide. Due to the rotation of the earth, the coastal areas experience 2 high tides and 2 low tides every 24 hours and 15 minutes. Now next we are going to start up with the occurrence of tides. Basically, the tides are caused by the gravitational force or by the rotation of earth. So let's start with the gravitational force first. Every object in the universe exerts a gravitational pull on every other object. Only after the discovery of universal law of gravitation by Sir Isaac Newton, the effect of the sun and moon on the tides was fully understood. The effect of gravity increases or decreases with the distance and the mass of the object. Tides are thus caused by the gravitational pull of moon and to some extent by the pull of sun. The moon, though small in size, is very near to the earth, so it exerts a strong gravitational pull on the earth. The sun is very far away from the earth, yet due to its greater mass, it exerts some gravitational pull. The lunar tides are mainly modified by the sun's gravity. Water, being liquid, can be pulled by the gravitational attraction of the moon. So the water of the earth nearest to the moon will be pulled by the moon, causing water to pile up in the certain regions. People living on the seashore must have observed connection between the moon and the tides. As the moon rises later each day, about 50 minutes than the day before, the high tide occurs 50 minutes late each day. Next we have rotation. As we all know that Earth takes 24 hours to complete its rotation. Now let's understand the relation between Earth's rotation, moon and tide. Every heavenly body has some mass, and two bodies with the same mass exerts gravitational pull on each other. So now here the moon is attracted towards the earth and earth is equally attracted to the moon. Here the gravitational attraction are of equal strength. The moon pulls the ocean closest to it and make it bulge outward. When the earth rotates, the sea level is high at this point of rotation, causing high tide, and low tides are experienced where the oceans don't bulge. So we have only one high tide each day. But here it gets interesting that earth or we experience two high tides each day. So now let's understand how it happens. Let's take a location of the ocean on the side of the moon as point A, center of the earth as point B, and opposite side of the ocean as point C. The strength of the moon's gravity is strongest at point A because it is closest to the moon. So the part of the ocean that bulges toward the moon experiences high tide. The centrifugal force created due to the earth's rotation here makes another bulge at point C. The bulge at point C is higher than that of point A because the centrifugal force is more powerful than the gravitational pull on point C. Now, every place on the earth faces moons once a day. It means that place should have one high tide or one low tide every 12 hours. But there is another surprise. By the time the earth rotates on its axis once and come back original position, the moon has moved on a bit because it is also orbiting the earth at the same time. That means the earth has to catch up with the moon, so the next day high tide is 15 minutes later. So now let's read. Occurrence of tides. The gravitational attraction of the sun and the moon is responsible for the occurrence of tides in the sea water. We know that each and every body in the universe exerts an attractive force on every other body. This I have already explained. The earth exerts an attractive force on the moon and vice versa. The same is true for both the sun and the earth. It is attractive force of the sun and the moon on the earth that causes tides. The sun, by virtue of its bigger size, should attract more, but due to its greater distance from the earth, it is unable to exert greater influence. This we have already learnt, that sun is at a greater distance from the earth as compared to moon, so moon exerts more gravitation pull on the earth. The moon, on the other hand, though much smaller in size than the sun, is relatively close to the earth and is thus able to attract more strongly than the sun. The tides largely follow the apparent movement of the moon in the sky. Apparent movement here is a sensation of seeing movement when nothing actually moves in the environment. The gravitational force of the moon will be maximum at the earth's surface facing the moon, while it will be minimum at the opposite side of the earth. Here, the point A on the Earth's surface is 12,800 km nearer to the moon than point B. The two high tides are produced at one and the same time on the Earth. One high tide occurs on the side of the Earth facing the moon and other on the diametrically opposite side. And this I have already explained you that how this complete process happens. This is just because of the centrifugal force that acts on the other side, and that part bulges and high tide is produced. This is due to the fact that two forces are acting simultaneously at every point on the earth. These are the gravitational forces of sun and the moon, and other is the centrifugal force, which is same everywhere. Centrifugal force is the apparent outward force on a mass when it is rotated. These two forces act in the opposite direction and they balance each other at the center of the earth. The gravitational force is much greater than the centrifugal force on the side facing the moon. On the opposite side, the centrifugal force is much greater than the gravitational force of the moon. Between the two high tides, there are two low tides as the earth rotates on its axis. Each point experiences two high tides and two low tides during a day. So now students, with this we are ending up with the topic of the day. Please revise your topic and do the related question answers. Thank you.